Southern African Bantu nations can be traced back to three ancestors. The first are the San and the Khoikhoi, then the Tonga, the Kalanga and the Nyai, then the Nguni, the Sutu, the Lozi, the Tonga, the Venda, the Shona, and many more. According to historians, the Bantu-speaking people who migrated from East and Central Africa to Southern Africa were the Tonga, Kalanga, and Nyai. On the other hand, traditionalists contend that the Bantu descended from the Khoikhoi and San, who go by the native names Batwa Basarwa Baroa, etc. San peoples and other hunter-gatherers trace their genealogy back to the earliest human ancestors and are the direct descendants of the early peoples of Southern Africa. Tens of thousands of years passed before Bantu-speaking agro-pastoralists from East and Central Africa arrived in the area. Bantu migration was predominantly through an eastern corridor, with some distinct migration down through Angola to the west. According to some historians, early contact seems to have included a high level of intermarriage, particularly between Nguni, San, and Khoi. Xhosa absorbed a substantial amount of language and culture from the indigenous peoples. In colonial terms, the San peoples were referred to as Bushmen and the Khoikhoi as Hentotots. Both terms are generally considered offensive today. There are many Bantu terms for indigenous peoples, including Barwa, Basarwa, Abatwa, and Batwa. These are some ways of expressing the relationships between the black societies of Southern Africa. Additional evidence indicates that all Southern Africans who speak Bantu have a common progenitor. Their differences in language and cultural practices are a result of migration, acculturation, and recent colonialism. Let's examine these three historical Bantu ethnic groups, Tonga, Kalanga, and Nyai, in greater detail. According to historians, these are the dynasties that ruled over ancient Southern Africa, leaving behind cultural sites like Great Zimbabwe and Mapungubwe, as well as a wealth of artifacts discovered in these regions. The Tonga people, often known as the Lion people, because they revere the lion, were the first to settle and control Southern Africa. The lion is the totem of the Tonga descendants. They are dispersed all across Southern Africa. In Zambia and Malawi, they are called the Banda. In Zimbabwe, they are called the Sibanda Dau clan, and in South Africa, they are called the Tau clan. Before 800 AD, the Tonga were said to have ruled Southern Africa. The Kalanga moved into and assumed power after them. The second group is the Kalanga, who are said to have ruled from around 800 AD, people who venerated the sun. They came from the northeast and are believed to be related to the ancient kingdom of Kush. The Kalanga people mostly employ aquatic or water creatures as totems, such as crocodile, fish, hippos, etc. They use water in their rituals. They are distinguished by their rain-making customs. The Kalanga were divided into three main groups before arriving in Southern Africa, named after their principal ancestors Kaluba, Luvimbi, and Mnguni. The descendants of Mnguni used the Far East route until they arrived and settled in southeastern Africa. These include the four Nguni groups: Swati, Xhosa, Ndebele, and Zulu. The descendants of Kaluba and Luvimbi used the internal route and settled in central southern Africa, that is present-day Zimbabwe and Botswana. The ones under Kaluba and Luvimbi are the Mbedzi clan, Ngwenya or Mukwena clan, the Bebe clan, the Dziva or Siziva clan, and many who use the water creatures as their totems. The Kalanga ruled up to around 1000 AD, and the Nyai Nyangwezi arrived. The third group to arrive, the Nyai, are the moon people who venerate the moon. The Nyai mostly use land or mountain creatures as their totems. They are believed to be related to the ancient Nubians. History and archaeology prove that the Nyai are the builders of stone cities like Great Zimbabwe. When they took over from the Kalanga, they continued practicing the Kalanga rituals and used Kalanga rain-making shrines. The Nyai Nyangwezi people established the Mapungubwe, Mwenemutapa, and Mambo empires. The Moyo clan, the Tsoko or Piri clan, the Lozi, and numerous other groups that use land creatures are among their most well-known descendants. In summary, these three primary Bantu groups have intermarried and blended despite differences in geography and language.